Mississippi Delta, and love being here and love the passion of everyone here. I'm a passionate waterfowler. I know a lot of you folks here are also waterfowlers, and so it's great to have you here. We like to move the commission meetings around to different parts of the state so that it gets access for folks to have their voices heard and to get issues out on the table. And all of us are passionate about the outdoors, and the staff of the department is too. And we're just trying to make the best opportunities for Mississippi citizens and people from out of state as well to enjoy our beautiful parts of God's creation that we have here. We'll open meeting in prayer first, and then we'll have us introduce ourselves because many of you don't know us. I'm going to get Jason Thompson to open us in prayer.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to come here safely, Father God, and we thank you for your many blessings that you have blessed us with. Father God, we thank you for our commissioners. We thank you for our executive director. We thank you for the men and women of this agency, Father God, and the resources that you have given us, Father God, to manage as an agency. We pray, Father God, that you continue to bless our state and our country. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. So usually we have a welcome for guests. Like, are there any legislators here, or state government or local government or anything? So what I like to do is for the staff and commissioners to just introduce themselves. And many of y'all from the Delta, this area, may haven't met with some of the staff. So Drew, if you want to start down there, and we'll just go this way. And
I'm Drew Malone with the Attorney General's Office. Leonard Bent, Wildlife Commissioner.
Bill Costa, I live in Charleston. I represent the old Jamie Whitten district, which was Roger Wicker's district, and it's really starts in Tallahatchie and kind of goes up northeast Mississippi. And I've been on the commission, this is my 8th year.
And what university do you represent?
The University of Mississippi.
and Leonard's from the old, I guess, 5th Congressional District.
I'm down the coast.
Down the coast, so he's our Coast Rat representative, but he also has property in Yazoo County. I'm Billy Munger. I live in the Jackson metro area. I'm old 4th Congressional District. I have property up here in the Delta, Quitman County, and so up this way a lot, hunting, deer and waterfowl. Passionate turkey hunter too. Here's your local Scott Coopwood.
I'm Scott Coopwood. I'm from the big town of Shelby, live in Cleveland, and your 2nd District Commissioner here, and I'm also an Ole Miss alumnus as well. Bill.
Yeah, by the way. It's 3 out of 4, 5, by the way.
I'm Gary Rhodes, actually from Rankin County, represent the 3rd Congressional District, and been on the board maybe 2 months and still trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. All seriousness, I have a farm in Yazoo County, Big Tummers Ear Farm in Yazoo County.
And Mayor Flowood.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Sam Polis, the Executive Director. Born in since we're telling a lot of history there. Born in Stuttgart, Arkansas, lived in Clarksdale, went to Delta State for a BS degree, went then Mississippi State, and also grew up duck hunting the Mississippi River all my youth life.
Doug, yeah.
Greg Mann, I'm a staff officer with the department.
I'm Larry Pugh. I'm the Director of Technical Programs. I've been with the agency about 26 years. So I'm over wildlife fisheries, law enforcement, and our museum. We're lucky to have several of our bureau directors here. We've got Colonel Jerry Carter, our law enforcement chief. I've got Russ Walsh here, our wildlife bureau director, and I've got Gary Brown, our fisheries bureau director. Thank you for letting us come to Cleveland.
And Scotty.
Lieutenant Colonel Scotty Jones, Law Enforcement Bureau from Yazoo City. Also have a duck hunter and waterfowl.
Jason Thompson, Assistant Director of Administrative Services.
He introduced Russ, and Billy DeVinny's here, and he was a commissioner for 15 years, and he set a good example for all of us. And there's a wildlife management area that we named after him for all of his great service. What county is that in, Bill?
Sunflower.
Sunflower.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question to the audience. Would everyone that owns a Mississippi hunting license or an out-of-state hunting license, raise your hand? Y'all finance this organization. That's where we get our money from, is the license sales. So thank every one of you for participating. I just wanted to make sure that we knew who we were talking to.
We have some of the social media folks from the agency. This meeting is being recorded. It's not being streamed. So it's not being live streamed, but it is being recorded. Just want everybody to know that. And so before we get on with the agenda, I wanted to get a sense of who all wants to speak at the meeting and what subject you want to speak about. So I see Pete Fulgham, and you'll be speaking about what?
I'm going to be speaking on behalf of the river hunters that are being harassed off of
Okay.
riparian landowners' properties.
Okay. And Reeves Devlin, I think.
Billy, I'd like to speak only if it's not clarified prior to my opportunity to speak as to what the law really is.
Okay.
What's your interpretation?
Okay. And Billy DeVinny, you're going to speak as well?
I've got something I'd like you all to prove today.
Okay. So Reeves and Pete will represent everybody else that's here, pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do is, if that's true, then we'll allow 10 minutes or so for each, Pete, for Reeves, if you need to speak, and Billy, for yourself. So just and honor everybody's time. So that's great. We appreciate everybody being here, everybody's passion, and it's great to have everybody here. So with that, we'll get on with the agenda. The first topic is the minutes of the December 16th and January 4th meetings.
Motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Motion?
Motion
to approve.
Yes, sir. Motion to approve those. Do we have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Both together?
Both of them together.
Yeah. All right. All those in favor of approving those minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes are all public record. Anybody wants to look at them, let us know. Today's agenda has been published and it's set forth. I think what we'll do then is have the folks we want to talk about the river and things like that after the wildlife and law enforcement sections. So put those under other business, if that's okay. Is that okay, Drew?
Yep.
Yeah. That way Scotty can speak on the enforcement areas, and Colonel Carter can speak and things like that. So today's agenda is okay. We'll go forward with it. First, Jason Thompson, license sales.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, our December report, the revenue is similar to where we were at this point on last year, $13,305,000 compared to $13,285,000. Resident license sales are down 2%, but WMA permits are up 3%, senior exempt license is up 9%, and apprentice licenses are up 9%. The non-resident license revenue is up 2%, and that's tied to the increase that happened October the 1st. All game licenses are up 4%, 7-day all game 10%, and the 3-day all game archery primitive weapon privilege up 8%. The permit category is down 1%, and lifetime licenses are down 11% compared to FY21. WMA downloads for FY22, we're sitting at 9,346, 7,025 iOS users, and 2,321 Android users. 39,120 have set up for auto renewal versus 33,884 on last year. And license packages. So far in FY22, we've sold 21,286 compared to 17,534 on last year.
Jason, is this the third year we're in auto renewal? Is that, or is this our fourth year? I forgot.
This is going on the third year.
And that's worked out real well and no complaints?
Numbers continue to climb. Yes, sir.
And of course, we have done a good bit of marketing this year about license sales and all that.
We have.
And I
Marketing
think that
team.
may reflect in what you have right here. We're up a little.
Correct.
Any other questions for Jason?
That's what floats the boat right here.
It's a good report, similar to last year.
Let me ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
In the non-resident, somewhere early on when I was on the commission, it was reported something like 60-something thousand non-resident license sales from Louisiana alone. Out of like 89,000, 60-something thousand came out of Louisiana.
That's correct. A big percentage comes from Louisiana.
Well, bless their heart. Good.
How many duck stamps do we have purchased this year?
So right now we are at 25,000 state waterfowl stamps, and those are the resident stamps.
That just blows my mind. I thought that there would be more than that.
Now, those are just the residents, so non-residents, if you add to that total,
That's just revenue.
about 7,000, so.
32,000.
Jason, one thing I've heard comments from people is that people that bought their federal duck stamps through our state thing, a lot of them have not received a physical stamp. And I wonder, is that a COVID issue with the feds or something? Or?
It shouldn't be. I can follow up, but they're usually pretty good about sending that federal stamp within 3 days. So
There are a bunch of folks in that I mean, we could probably take a poll here, but I know a lot of folks that applied, bought it. There's evidence, obviously, in our system that they bought it, but if you didn't go buy it at Walmart or somewhere, they just haven't received it in the mail.
Okay, I'll follow up.
Yeah. As long as the federal guys are be understanding on that.
They should. The turnaround time is pretty quick, but in 3 to 4 days to receive it.
Yeah, well, there's definitely evidence that people bought it. It's just,
Okay.
I just had 5 or 6 people who told me that.
Okay, I'll follow up.
Do they have to mark that they want the stamp,
Not with the feds.
State stamp, they do.
state stamp?
So online, you can say yes, and we'll send you your physical stamp in the mail.
Right.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
All right, Russ Walls, Wildlife.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, just a few quick things for you all today. We just want to update you on some events that we do have coming up. Our youth squirrel hunts that we do every year, as well as our youth waterfowl camp. Those are both coming up in February. The youth waterfowl camp will be held at Muscadine Farms again. We'll have 12 hunters this year, so we're looking forward to that, as well as 5 youth squirrel hunts coming up February 12th. We'll have those scattered across the state. We'll have 10 at each event. Those are already filled up. So both good events. Looking forward to having those come up here in a few weeks. Each year, we try to highlight some of our staff that have done an outstanding job. And this year, we want to do our 2021 awards. We appreciate the opportunity to do that before you. One of our individuals had a scheduling conflict and was not able to be here. We want to recognize him just by name for right now. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and do our WMA manager. So each year we will highlight our WMA manager of the year, as well as our wildlife biologist of the year. And so each year we solicit from our staff nominations for those individuals we feel like have done exemplary jobs throughout the year for not only the agency, but for the resources of the state. And so our nominations are always very good. It's usually always a very tough choice, just given the quality of staff that we have that work for us as an agency and work for us in this state. But this year, again, there's usually some that kind of rise above all of them. And so we had the same thing this year. So I'm going to start with the WMA manager for this year. One thing that really helps WMA managers go above and beyond just the day-to-day work that they do is really taking ownership in the area that they manage. And this individual certainly exemplifies taking ownership for their WMA. This gentleman is the manager of Charles Ray Nix WMA, and so each year he goes above and beyond. He gets prescribed burn plans ready, make sure all the fire lanes are ready to do the burning that is done there on Charles Ray Nix. Does a lot of work to manage old field habitat. That's tractor work, herbicide work, disking, and clipping. This individual is also a very skilled predator trapper. And so this time of year, he begins to do a lot of predator trapping over the next couple of months and does an outstanding job of that. As well as all of the quail call counts that we do there, spring and fall counts, he's always there for that. Manages over 8 miles of gravel roads on the WMA. And if you ever go to his headquarters, you know, you always hear the old adage, you can eat off the floor there. That is the case at Charles Ray Nix. Dr. Pulse was there just a few months back. He could even see that this individual always keeps his headquarters in tip-top shape, and you literally could eat off of the floors there. So not only does he take care of the headquarters and the facilities, the equipment is always well maintained, the WMA is in tip-top shape. If you go look at the roads or any of the habitat there, you will see that Mark always does a great job. Another aspect that you always look for WMA managers is the rapport they have with hunters. And that's another thing that Mark goes above and beyond on. Mark knows all the hunters there, the hunters know Mark. He has a great rapport with them. And so we're very fortunate to have somebody that really engages with the public there at all times. We are pleased to announce this year the 2021 WMA Manager of the Year is Mr. Mark Yarbrough from Charles Ray Nix WMA. So Mark, we want to present you with a plaque, Wildlife Management Area Manager of the Year for 2021 for outstanding work in the Wildlife Management Area Program and Wildlife Resource Conservation. We'll present this to you as well as a gift card to Bass Pro Shops. Mark's family is here if you want to introduce your family.
My wife, Camille. And my son, Colin, back here. Of course, my sister, who lives in the background here. Yes, sir.
Today I was up there, everything was clean, just like you said, the equipment was clean. We found some quail, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Absolutely.
I told you we had quail.
You got it. We did.
Gonna have more, hope.
There we go.
Thank you.
That's in Panola County, correct?
That's right. Also, we have our Wildlife Biologist of the Year. This individual, again, we had a scheduling conflict, not be able to be here today, but we'll present him with his award officially when we're able to get together again. But I want to go ahead and recognize him. Again, we always receive a lot of good nominations, and there's always someone that rises to the top, and this individual has. He's also in our WMA program. He works in our Northeast WMA region. He coordinates last year conducted over 1,000 acres of prescribed fire. He coordinated and assisted with a youth squirrel hunt that goes on in Canal Section WMA. He's oversees and has assisted with reviving a road there, which has actually been a 10-year project on the WMA that they got completed this past year. Oversees and assisted with trapping activities. This past year, he trapped over 150 beavers and caught over 100 wild hogs on Canal Section. Also coordinates and assisted with improving multiple miles of mulch levee along Canal Section WMA for improvement of wild turkey. He also is supervisor over multiple WMAs in the Northeast WMA region. Recently, given the retirement of Jeff Mangrum, Justin has taken over all of our Corps of Engineer projects as well. So he does all of the bookkeeping, all the paperwork, all the liaison with the Corps of Engineer, which is a huge lift in addition to his responsibilities as the WMA manager. Justin Hughes is our 2021 Wildlife Biologist of the Year. He has gone above and beyond, again, not only for the agency, but for the resources of the state. We're pleased to announce Justin Hughes for this year's 2021 Wildlife Biologist of the Year. We also will present him with a plaque and a gift card to Bass Pro Shops. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize these individuals for the agency.
I'm assuming, y'all, present it to him at the next meeting we have in Jackson?
We certainly can, yes, sir, to do that.
Hey Russ, while you're up there, since one of these folks here, I thought maybe you could tell them a little bit about CWD update, just an overview, and then Houston Hardesty, you back there? Houston back there?
Darren is, Darren Hardesty.
Darren, I'm sorry, Darren. I mean Houston, David. Darren, where are you? Maybe you could give them after Russ talks about CWD, you could give everybody a little overview of the waterfowl surveys and
Absolutely.
just a sec, just after, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so as of today, we have detected 38 positives for this sampling season. And again, that starts July 1 and runs through June 30th. So for this sampling season, we're at 38. That is the most we've had since CWD was detected, the most in a single year since CWD was detected in February of 2018. We do have some additional positive counties. So Warren County is now a positive county. There's been 2 positive deer detected from Warren County. We actually have a couple of other deer that have come from the same general area that we are waiting results on this week that could be additional positives from that region. We have received additional positives in Tippah and Alcorn County this year, as well as Marshall and Benton. To date, as of this morning, we have collected over 4,000 samples. This is a big day. Usually Wednesdays are a big day, and all samples come in and being processed. So we'll have certainly well over 4,000 by the end of the day. As you likely saw, Alabama is now a positive state. They detected an animal in Lauderdale County, which is the northwesternmost county of Alabama, and they are awaiting additional results from other animals or from other white-tailed deer from that region. So they have created their high risk and their buffer zone, and they basically, for lack of a better term, they've taken the gloves off for the next several weeks in Alabama. So through February 10th, they will have basically no bag limits, and they're encouraging hunters to go harvest deer and turn in those samples so they can determine the extent of the disease in that region of the state, get a better handle on what may be happening there. So we will continue to collect samples for the remainder of this season. Again, we have about 800 that are at the lab right now, and we have more day to day. So.
Russ, what is Alabama doing about that case in regard to their buffer zone, or they established any kind of thing like we have? Or what?
Yes, so right now they have a high-risk zone, and they have a buffer zone, and most of that is encompassed in Lauderdale County.
So it's not beyond that county?
They're going to wait till the end of the season because they can have a better idea of what's happening, and they will move forward with what they're going to do on additional zones or additional restrictions on some of those animals.
Russ, that's probably, or they assume that's kind of a carryover from what Tennessee is caused in particularly in our 2 counties in North Mississippi. You said northwest Alabama, so
yes,
that's probably a spillover from still coming from Tennessee, maybe.
Well, that's a long way, Russ, from Tennessee. That county is right above.
It's right on the Tennessee line, isn't it?
It's on the line.
From our positives and from Tennessee positives, it's a good way from known detections that we have from both regions, but it certainly could be a spillover. Certainly not ruling that out. That's why they're trying to collect more samples to determine if there's certainly more cases there.
Russ, the main thing in Tennessee, without having the map in front of me, the county right above Marshall County, that we're having to take in that county of Tennessee, we're having issues that continue on.
Yes. If you look at Tennessee now, it's over a very large area. So. And also, we may have mentioned at the last meeting about the Arkansas positive that was found near Arkansas Refuge, which is right on the Louisiana border. They continue to sample there. It's a very long distance from their CWD zone.
So Darren, you want to come up? Y'all need to meet Darren. Houston Havens is also works waterfowl for the department, and you're from Arkansas originally, or?
Originally from Arkansas, yes, sir.
Yeah, and you hunted ducks in Arkansas a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You neglected to introduce. We didn't
Darren
introduce you
Hardesty,
before.
waterfowl biologist, work along with Houston Havens, waterfowl program coordinator. Wish I had some better news. I mean, most people in here, a lot of duck hunters, well aware, duck numbers are low. We're currently in the process of trying to complete our late January aerial waterfowl survey. Weather conditions today didn't really allow for that, but just from the last survey that we just did, early January survey, waterfowl numbers were higher than the December survey, but still
still below the long-term average. You know, not much we can do with the warmer weather that we're, you know, the warm weather patterns that we're currently having, but you know, can't do much with Mother Nature and argue with her. So that's the hand that we're dealt at this time. But hope with the next couple of days, got some cold weather coming in, and being optimistic towards the end of the season.
Have you seen the Arkansas surveys? Have they released anything yet?
Their numbers are below their average as well.
Second year in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any other states, any other insights on anything?
Some of the northern states, parts of Missouri, Illinois, they're starting to see those birds, so they're still hanging out in those parts of the state and haven't quite made that migration south yet. So hope for colder weather. Things will freeze up hopefully in the next couple of days, and we'll get a good push of birds hopefully at the end of the season.
Well, great. Well, thanks for letting everybody know. And
yeah, wish I had better news.
Yeah, everybody, you know, call Darren or Houston if you have ideas or observations.
Yeah, absolutely.
On waterfowl stuff.
All right. Yeah, are there any questions for waterfowl management?
Thank you.
Great. One more thing in the wildlife area, we're planning on doing a turkey summit on the 24th of February. Just trying to get a feel from folks, hunters all over the state, and biologists, and for the NGOs, just get a sense of the state of eastern wild turkey in Mississippi, see what other states are doing, and there's no agenda to it. No, we as a commission and department, we don't have any plans to change anything at this point, but it's just really a matter of seeing what we can do to continue to protect and keep the population good. Adam Butler is the biologist ahead of that, the turkey program, and he's a hunter himself, and really he's really protective of keeping the opportunities for hunters available. So, but we appreciate some of you folks in this part of the state. Please try to come. It'd be good to have representatives from this area, inside the levees, and then north Mississippi as well. So everybody put that in your calendar. If you have an interest, just let us know. And so it'll be in the Jackson area, probably at the either museum, perhaps or at the Department of Wildlife headquarters. They're still working on the exact location. So anything else for us with wildlife? Okay. All right, fisheries.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good to be back in Cleveland. Spent a few years at Delta State and in Bolivar County early in my career, so it's grown a little bit since I've been back up here. This is all, I think there was a movie theater here or close down the road, not far. I want to present some proposed changes to our Rule 3.1, which is our commercial fishing rule. Section E is to clarify some tagging requirements for non-residents in Board of Waters. Recently, Louisiana does not require tagging for their commercial gear, but in Mississippi we do. So if a commercial fisherman from Louisiana, Arkansas runs their gear on our side, on the Mississippi side, they'll need to include their either a tag number or their license number, same as in Mississippi. That'll also apply to crawfish and freshwater fish traps as well. Section G is harvest, size, and possession restrictions. We added a creel limit of 2 alligator gar per day. Prior to that, there was a quota. We were going to do away with the quotas, but we recommend and just go with 2 fish. This will be similar to what other states are doing. Some states either have no limit or they have only 1 or 2 in possession, so it'll be similar to those other states.
Is that for a commercial fisherman, or is
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir.
So what was the commercial fisherman's take on that? Did they like it, or they don't like it?
We have had very little harvest reporting of alligator gar since we started this several years ago. We do not anticipate any negative feedback from them. Section H adds that no commercial fishing equipment can be fished in national forest in Mississippi. This is to mimic the rule that the Forest Service has, so we just want to adopt that in ours. It'll be similar to waters that pass through national wildlife refuges where no commercial gear is allowed there.
And section J is our special permits. With a special permit issue, it will require that the fishermen have that permit on them when they're fishing. That will assist our law enforcement officers as they're checking people out on the water to have that documentation on them there. And also, we want to ask them to extend the commercial fishing season at Moon Lake from the end of March to go through the end of April. And that's all I have.
Can we take all these in one
It's
vote?
one, it's one.
Then I make a
Yes.
motion that we adopt all these in one lick.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any more further discussion?
I got one question.
Okay.
All right. I'm not familiar. This adds no commercial fishing equipment can be fished in national forests in Mississippi. Okay, does that mean if the tributary passes through the national forest and goes into the public, you can't commercial fish it?
If a stream or river, for instance, in southwest Mississippi, the Homochitto River flows through the Homochitto National Forest. In that area that's within the national forest, you cannot run commercial gear.
What about when does it go to the Pearl River? I don't know where the Homochitto goes.
Homochitto makes its way to the Mississippi River down in Wilkerson County.
Okay, so it doesn't affect downriver out of the national forest area, does it?
Not sure I understand your question.
Is it only?
It's only within the boundaries of the national forest.
Okay.
Once you get outside of the national forest,
I just
the water does, you can continue.
Okay. That's it. That's all I have.
Any further questions? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, law enforcement. Colonel Jerry Carter, and I think you may have Scotty Jones also.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Dr. Bowles, good afternoon. Like Mr. Brown, it's good to be back in the Mississippi Delta from here. Lived in Bolivar County, was born and raised in LaFleur County, so it's good to be back home. I'd like to recognize some officers that I worked with during my career here with the agency, Mr. Floyd Sanders, Mr. Robert Taylor, the late Mr. Robert Taylor, and also another good local person here, Mr. Jimmy Russell. So had an opportunity to work with those guys and taught me a lot. At this time, Law Enforcement Bureau would like to report our January commission to the January for our law enforcement report. And we report as follows. On license and compliance checks for the month of December, there were a total of 1,029 citations issued. The top 5 was no license, 143. Trespassing was 90. Hunting from a public road was 73. Headlighting was 63. And supplemental feeding was 53. On our next page, shows what we did on the headlighting case there in, down in South Mississippi. For the month of December, there were a total of 63 headlighting cases made throughout the state. Below is a headlighting case made by Officer Brandon Abel in Jackson County. Individuals were caught with a spike bug, and upon further investigation, the individuals admitted to shooting another deer. Officers recovered a spotted fawn at that location as well.
Looks like he's shooting a 22, Jerry. Is that a 22?
I believe so, sir. Yes, sir.
He's got beer and all that in the truck with it, having a big party.
Had a big party, yes, sir. Since the opening weekend of the waterfowl season, officers have conducted compliance details at Malmation Scatters. Total number of hunters encountered was 587. Total work hours was 452. Citations issued was 101, and warnings issued was 25.
Jerry, a lot of those tickets you wrote, was there a majority of a certain ticket without a license, that kind of thing, or was it over the limit, or what was it?
Mainly license, nothing over the limit, basically license and stamps.
Do we seem to have calmed that area down a little bit?
The numbers are going down a little bit on citations, from basically no license. We're kind of going like, issuing citations with uncased guns there on the premises of over 25 shells, so forth and so on. But as far as the biggest ones that we were having, I think we kind of controlled that situation pretty good. On our next page, This is Officer Chad Shiles in Simpson County. Chad had been working a case here due to a complaint on a illegal dumping of deer carcasses. And through that surveillance, he did make a case on an illegal dumping case there in Simpson County.
Question for you, Colonel, is it illegal to dump a carcass on the side of a road, or what, where, is that what they were doing?
But this here was on property. This particular incident here was on property.
Oh,
Property, yes, sir. And on somebody else's property.
Somebody else's
Yes,
property,
somebody else's
okay,
property,
okay.
yes, sir. Proud to report that on our next page is our cadet class. We have now completed our 10-week training at Makota. At this time, we have non-sworn officers that are now have reported, the non-sworn officers have now reported to Malota. That should be a total of 13 officers that are there now that are non-sworn at Malota at this time, going through basic training. I think their training weeks are going to be at least 8 weeks of training. They're challenging a lot of the agencies with the COVID. So far, all of our officers are holding up pretty good. Our cadets are holding up pretty good at Malota. The other officers, we have 8 that were prior sworn. They are now in the field working with their FTOs, field training officers, as we speak. They are getting a good hands-on training, and we're monitoring them and basically seeing what they've learned and how they show us what they've learned throughout the academy, and the FTO as well, working with them to point out those mistakes to help improve them on their enforcement efforts. So far, glad to report that all 21 cadets have completed Makota. On our next page is McHenry shooting clay project. Just to give you all an update, the entire trail is almost to grade and compaction. The core ditches is at 20% complete for the pond levee. Drainage pipes are in place, and 30% of shooting stations with dirt work and field is completed.
Gary, what's the project date, completion date of the whole project?
Colonel.
Right. As far as the dirt work and
Ready to
asphalt,
shoot.
everything, ready to shoot.
Ready to shoot.
You're probably looking at summertime as far as the dirt work and the field and the asphalt stuff. We're hoping completion for that.
That ought to add a whole lot to our numbers down
It
there.
will. It will. It's going to be instrumental to the MSSP program.
Yeah.
For the clay.
So that's near Wiggins.
Just south of Wiggins.
We have Turcotte, Madison County on Reservoir, east of Canton, and we got McIver.
On our last page here is our shooting reports update from December 5th, 2021 to January 9th of 2022. McIver reports on 370 customers. Turcotte has 804, and McHenry has 509 customers there at our shooting ranges.
Are we down a little bit at McIver?
Down a little bit. Weather's been playing a factor and so forth. But those numbers will rebound quickly as the rain starts getting in there and the shooting support starts picking up.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I will yield the floor to Lieutenant Colonel Scotty Jones as he will talk about the public waterways, so forth and so on. You all ready for that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you. I think most of y'all are in here for public waterways, private waterways, and so forth. I'm going to speak on that behalf or as a law enforcement standpoint. Understand, commission is here, but everything that's related to public water, private water is in statute. It takes legislative action, correct?
That's correct.
That will come. So as far as public water in the state of Mississippi is all water except private ponds and private lakes. Public waterways are streams and rivers that you can navigate that are deemed by MDQ in statute. MDQ determines what public waterways are. Within that public waterway, that allows you to hunt, fish, anchor, float, boat, wade within the natural banks of that waterway. If you exceed the natural banks of that waterway, you're trespassing. Flood waters don't constitute trespassing across without going through that waterway. You gotta stay within the natural banks of that waterway. There's two ways that we enforce that. If you trespassing, an officer has to physically see it, witness it, for us to issue a citation. If a landowner witnesses it, they're gonna go fill out, they're gonna take the documentation, and they're gonna fill out the affidavit on that person. And then that landowner and that individual go in court. Any additional question for me on that?
Scotty, let me ask you, did I hear you correct? Like, you have the banks of the river right here, the river gets up and floods. If you go outside.
If you get outside those banks of that river or that natural public waterway that's deemed by MDQ, you're trespassing.
Gotcha.
You can't step out of those natural banks or get out of those natural banks. Can't cross the land over another. Oxbows or public water, you gotta have a public ramp, a feed ramp, or permission from the landowner to access those oxbows. Same thing when floodwaters. If you get out of those natural banks of that waterway, you gotta have permission from that landowner to cross it in those floodwaters.
Scotty, the only thing I would add is there's no action that this commission can take that changes that or can address that.
That's correct.
What is considered the high bank? Is that determined by flood studies on the Mississippi River?
We don't go off the high bank, we just go off the natural waterways. I think you're referring to Arkansas, high water mark or high bank.
But when you get past flood stage, that's when you're trespassing, is that correct?
When you get out of the natural waterway, what's deemed by MDQ, you're trespassing.
It'll be flood stage.
And that's flood stage.
No, not necessarily. That waterway is determined by MDQ. When you get outside of those natural banks of that waterway, you're trespassing.
Well, what's the natural bank?
It's a defined bank, it could be defined vegetation, aquatic vegetation. If you break buttonbush, willow, that's aquatic vegetation, you get in a timberline that is oak, sugarberry, cottonwood, sycamore, you can break the defined bank of a waterway.
But if you're in the Willis,
Willis is aquatic vegetation. And then understand this, it's a hunter's responsibility to know where they're at. You know, if there's any question, don't go there.
Reeves, you wanted to say something?
Well, I think you clarified my question. We understood from the meeting several years ago that as long as you were in the waterway, it was legal.
As long as you're in that natural waterway, and the waterways that are connected to that waterway.
But if you get into timber.
If you get into standing timber that's outside of that natural banks of that waterway, you're trespassing. And a landowner, if an officer along that river, and this is the way we work it from all the way north, all the way south. If an officer witnesses that, he can issue a citation for trespassing. If a landowner witnesses it, they can do the same thing, they can get all that documentation, information they can, and they can go to court and file affidavit in court. And take that individual to court.
And so, for instance, in Bolivar County, where our clubs are located, 37 feet Arkansas City is flood stage. But much of the interior of our clubs are flooded below 37 feet. So one could come into the natural waterway.
As long as they stay in that natural water, as long as they stay in that waterway.
But if they get into the large standing timber, other than just scrub, button brush.
That is correct.
Well, willow's considered an aquatic.
That's right.
But willow can be a harvestable timber tree once it reaches the stage of we have willow in our club as well as the other species. So are you saying that if there's a tall stand of willow, 30 feet tall?
If you get outside those willows and that natural buttonbush and that natural habitat, you're trespassing.
And if you get into the large standing of willows?
Now, as long as it's willows, it's a natural bank there.
Right.
And that's part of our law enforcement officers. They're gonna evaluate, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna look. And and they're gonna know where the natural bank is on a outside flood stage.
Right.
They'll know that.
So is this, I know some of the conflict has been with interpretation of the law, and some of the officers may have a different interpretation, but that is the direction you've given to your law enforcement officers.
Yes, sir.
That as long as they're in the channel legal. if
As long as
they
they're in the public waterway,
Public
within the
waterway.
waterway, the banks of that public waterway.
If they get out of the bank.
They get out of the banks of that public waterway, all can cite them for trespassing if they witness it, or a landowner can sign an affidavit and they can.
And that is the case whether it is reached flood stage or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've answered my question.
Clear as mud? All right, so what we have, other business, which we will allow, for, discussion on that or other topics. So I think, Pete or Reeves, would one of y'all want to speak further on the subject?
Well, I'd like to just first thank the commission for the work they do in Bolivar County. I represent Smith Point Hunting Club in Concordia, and we really appreciate not only the public landowners, the private landowners, but what you do to provide access in your management areas to the general public. And that goes a long way for the enjoyment of our resources, of our wildlife in Bolivar County. And I further want to say, you have got two outstanding law enforcement officers here. Ryan does a superb job, very professional in his work, and thank you very much for bringing Cole back. Because Cole is just one of the best we've ever had, and for the 2 years that he was away, we missed him, and we're just delighted to have him back. And I would say to you that a lot of the interpretation of the law in section 51:1-4 that everybody quotes probably has been exacerbated by what's taken place on the river the last 11 years. And all of you as commissioners know that the water rises more frequently, it rises higher, and it stays for duration much longer than it has in the past. And this, of course, requires constant interpretation of an old statute that's been on our books for many, many years. And so we understand that your job is to interpret the law as the Attorney General advises you. I'm not here questioning that interpretation. I thought he did an excellent job of explaining it. And I would never be here today trying to enforce my views on you because you have your resources to get that. But I would say that from the standpoint of changing that, as times have changed and we're witnessing that change now with the rise of the river, that we have the legislative outlet and the judiciary, and that's our place to go. It's not to come here and argue the law to you. So with that said, I really appreciate the effort to come to Bolivar County, and I thank you so much for that interpretation.
Thank you. Pete, you want to
Yes.
present a little bit?
Yes, and, it's like Reeves says, there's interpretations. In 1993, Dr. Polis asked the Attorney General to give their opinion, and there's a white paper in reference to this. Y'all can all look up on the internet. And Dr. Polis had stated in his request that assume that all the waterways were navigable. And anyway, the Attorney General came back and they said anything below flood stage, and they were talking about the annual high water mark, and that's what's referenced in the AG's report, which
we have always interpreted that as being flood stage, like when Greenville, Mississippi, when you get to 52 feet, everything outside of that is considered flood stage, and anything under that mark was considered a navigable waterway that was owned by the riparian landowners, which they don't own the surface rights. They were granted all this property after the Civil War. And it's always been interpreted by us, and just until the past couple of years, have I heard the aquatic, are there aquatic plants there? Does that make it a wetland? Yes, it makes it a wetland. But that doesn't mean that the high water mark is actually an aquatic place. I mean, there's ridges that go up and down, and I've pretty much researched and gotten cross pictures that indicate that this is flood stage. And anything in that riverbed that'll flood that you can get to without crossing other property is by foot or without the landowner's permission, that is trespassing. And for instance, Reef, when the big field at Concordia floods, you're above flood stage. So that I considered always trespassing. I never went up in that area after the water came up. But up until you hit flood stage, we've always interpreted you go wherever you can get to by boat. And I've read a lot about this. I've got a lot of research. I can email to everyone and let y'all interpret. But I've never heard anything about aquatic vegetation in anything that I've read related to where you can hunt, fish, water ski, boat, anything. And I would like to find out where I can read that information that y'all are referring to. That's possible.
I'll get your information.
Excuse me?
I'll get your information out.
Okay, sounds great. And once again, thank y'all for putting up with us in this matter. It seems like it's an ongoing discussion, and I would like to, I don't want to trespass. I don't want to be somewhere I'm not supposed to be, but I do enjoy duck hunting the Mississippi River and its oxbows, and if Anderson Tully couldn't get it done, I don't believe anybody can. So let's just keep on enjoying the duck hunting on the Mississippi River and realize what the riparian landowners' rights are and what our public rights to hunt and fish are. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
And one small rebuttal. Number one, I'd say that, 93 is a long time ago, and the river's changed a lot. And even in Concordia today, below flood stage, where there's a washout, our land that we plant in soybeans floods below flood stage now, and the Corps of Engineers has it on their agenda to fix in 2024. It's not there yet. And so I want Pete to understand that flood stage was not the determining factor. It is where the navigable waterway is and the natural vegetative state such that it would appear to be a wetland. That's the criteria. 37 feet Arkansas City has nothing to do with the ability to set the flood stage. This is what we heard, and as long as everyone here understands that, the game wardens understand it, your law enforcement understand it, the commissioners understand it, I am perfectly happy. Thank you.
we as commission, we're like board of directors and trying to help the agency and help set policy. We are passionate for public water duck hunters. We're passionate about public land hunting and want to create as much opportunity as possible. We talked about it last month is spent the agency, and Billy Vinny was on there and others, and they spent millions and millions of dollars buying public land for hunting. And for those of you that hunt public waters, that have, invested in boats, and I have a duck hunting boat, and I've hunted Lake Washington, I've hunted other places, and it's a great thing. Pete's really just got a fantastic rig for hunting the Mississippi River, and we want to, we're supportive of all those opportunities. So we're not here to judge, but law enforcement, as Scotty articulated, that is what our understanding of what the law, Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana, they have slightly different interpretations. There's a big lawsuit against the Corps of Engineers about how they've allowed the Mississippi River to silt up so that the river bottom is higher, so the flood stages are higher. So that's a lawsuit ongoing as we speak. So who knows how that'll all come out. But we appreciate everybody being here. That's the main thing, and thanks for your passion. I think these next few days will be really good on the Mississippi River, and if you have breaks with deep water, because all those shallow water places will be frozen certainly by Saturday, if not by Friday. So all the waterfowl that we have, they should be going to the river in the deep water. So good luck to everybody, and have fun. Is that anything else on waterfowl or the river, high water levels? So
Billy, I would like to make one statement that, based off what you said. We've spent a lot of money purchasing public land. We need to increase the opportunities for that public to hunt on that public land too. And I think there's ways that we can do maybe a little bit better. I know we're trying to manage the resource, but we do need to increase that opportunity for that public hunter to be able to access those properties. And not eliminate, if my dad's 78 years old and wants to go hunt in Red Creek Wildlife Management Area, and they've got every gate road blocked off, he can't walk 2 miles in the woods to go hunt, and we're taking those opportunities away, and I think that's related to environmentalists that, quite frankly, are going to be part of the destroying our heritage and our industry of hunting. So I hope this department can take a stance to open those opportunities to more public hunters and not limit the access that we do on these, especially in the national wildlife refuges, which we have no bearings on, but the state-owned public lands, we need to increase that opportunity. Because not everybody can afford a Concordia or a private piece of property on the Big Black or stuff like that. So we need to. So anyway, that's my piece.
So you got also, we're talking about access and stuff, and the information that I read, where wetlands, waters that you can access off of the Mississippi River can't be obstructed either. And it says that the department is charged with making sure there isn't any structures there, permanent structures. Of course, they're allowed to put in temporary bridges and crossings and stuff for logging and other purposes. But I know of a place on the Mississippi River that there is a bridge that was put in for the purpose of logging. It's obstructing a chute that would normally be accessed. What do you do about that? From a law enforcement standpoint, do y'all write the landowner a letter and tell him he's publicly obstructing the waterway?
Scotty or Drew, Doug?
But it depends on who owns the land. If it's obstructing a public waterway, then the agency can take action, or it could be a Corps of Engineers. It just depends on the facts. I need a good bit more facts than what I've heard so far. I mean, and also if it's a temporary structure, or permanent structure, I mean, there's just a lot more to know, but there are
Well,
actions
it's
to
been
be
there
taken.
for about 12 years, and the road ends right on the other side. And,
Have you, requested any information on that, or requested anyone to look at it?
I have not.
So today is,
I really just became aware, in what I was preparing for this meeting, saw that in that white line, land grant paper that you mentioned it. And, it is obstructing,
I don't have any idea what
an
you're talking about. Where are we talking about?
Oxbow Lake, down, it's south of Clit Island, Duncansby Toe Ed area. There's a bridge going right across the chute. It's called the Old River Chute.
River Sheet just above Myersville.
You know where it is?
Yes, sir.
I figured that.
I've been across it.
Is that federal land? Our land? Is that state land or federal?
Where he's talking about,
Yeah.
no, it's private, but it's a river chute that comes off the river that goes into, Oxbow Lake. I think you can access it, that chute when, about 21 feet, when the river's around 21, 22 feet there. I believe there's a hunting club.
So is that a case-by-case basis,
Yeah, it's something
where
like that.
public, somebody could say, bring that to,
Obviously, it's something that's a public waterway, going right there, it's something that officers, as law enforcement officers, we would get counselors and them look at, what issues there might be, like, Drew said, something with the Army Corps of Engineers, will regulate that, for those bridges or crossings there.
if somebody's doing something to a wetland, they're obstructing a waterway.
It's got culverts, doesn't it?
That's a bridge.
It's a bridge, no, it's not a culvert, it's a bridge, and if it gets to a certain level, you could probably get that bridge, but it'd be extremely high flood stage.
But they'd have to have a permit.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
So you back up on that permit to see who's responsible.
That's right, that's correct.
Okay.
And that's where we've addressed it in the past. That's where we started, Dr. Oaks,
Right.
is to see if that structure was actually permitted through the Corps and DEQ.
Okay.
Right.
Good question, Pete, though.
So we're waiting on response on that?
No, that's the first step, though.
Okay.
Drew said case by case. If we were notified, the first thing we would do is go back and see if this is an actual permitted structure.
Right.
Okay. Reeves?
Clarification. Every year trees fall, and more trees are falling now because of the water standing in our timber. And that's what the lawsuit is about, that the Barrett Law Firm has filed. And so we're not required as landowners to go clean out a ditch so that Pete can get his boat through it, are we?
Well, if it's Pete, yeah.
Would you please?
Just to make sure we understand, because, I mean, we've got situations where there are people deer hunting on the bank of a low area, and the boats are coming in from Louisiana or wherever with chainsaws, cutting timber, running our deer hunting on land that we've been hunting for years. And this is where interpretation comes in. And I just want the commission to understand that now we have a major problem of flooding, which is going to create more interpretation as this goes forward.
Good points.
Reeves, y'all did clear all those out on work day. Then y'all wouldn't get disturbed, with the chainsaws while y'all are deer hunting.
He's a dear friend, we just.
Yeah. It's like a good, healthy debate. We'll get Reeves out there with a chainsaw. What do you think?
That ain't no out.
All right, so, I'm going to call on Mr. Billy DeVinny to present another item of business.
Mine won't be quite as interesting. That brings back old memories, though.
I looked before I left office this morning, and I was appointed June of 2002. And I was a little nervous. And this is the first time I've ever been on this side of this table, and I kind of feel that way today. I'm still a little nervous. I haven't felt comfortable yet. But listening to this makes me remember what it was like. I'm just glad you didn't have the, what's the other one that's so controversial?
The McIntyre scatters.
Yeah, scatters. I'm glad they weren't here too. I hear y'all already have. Once I left, I wasn't planning on coming back. But something happened in 19 that changed my mind. It was a law that got passed that targeted enclosures, and I have my own enclosure. And it regenerated my interest, and I ain't been doing anything but digging, learning, and finding out information and trying to figure out the right thing to do since then. And I'm part of an organization called Private Landowners Association of Mississippi. I'll tell you just a little bit, just give you a brief history about the organization. There's only 114 high fences in the state of Mississippi, and there's only 4 breeder pens. 4. And I'll give you, that makes up like 0.2 of 1% of the 31 million acres that this state has. So it's so small and minute compared to the state. When you think about land mass, sometimes we let little bitty things influence great big decisions. We let a real small majority determine what's going to happen. But I want you to understand how small our organization is. I also want you to understand in my investigation, I checked other states. I checked Alabama, I checked Louisiana, I checked Texas, I checked Wisconsin, I checked Missouri, Tennessee, and Arkansas. I have that comparison. I'll share it with you. The shocking news is that Louisiana, Alabama's got 210 breeder pens, and we got 4. You can imagine the economic income between those two. Louisiana's got 300 breeder pens. You can imagine the economic income of that. So it's a great business, a great industry. Fortunately, our laws would never allow these deer to be brought into Mississippi. And I'm sure that some people think that they were brought in. But we've been sampled, we had to sample every deer that was killed in 2019 in the court. Every one. Didn't find anything wrong, not one. So it pretty well said that maybe we hadn't done anything wrong. I think a lot of people thought that we brought in deer illegally. I never did think we did. I know I didn't. But anyway, as I continued to dig and look and try to find out what's going on and what we could do, and the word statute kept coming up. There's a statute out there, and that statute says it's illegal to kill a deer, to sell a deer. Well, I said, okay. And then I found out this one that we just talked about, there's a statute there. And it says that you guys have got the authority, full authority to totally regulate enclosures in the state of Mississippi. 100%. So as I continue to dig and look and say, well, what does that really mean? There's some words in there I didn't understand. I learned a lot. Number one is, if you got one lawyer, he'd just about starve to death. I hired some lawyers, and some of them are making a lot of money now. They all having fun. But I did learn that I have dug a lot. I've looked hard. I've tried to figure all of this out. I've tried to figure out why it should be a way. Why would they pass a law just for enclosures? And there's a lot of good reasons. Number one, you put an enclosure up for a lot of reasons. You put them up maybe just to keep dog hunters out. You may put them just to keep your neighbors out. You may put them because you want to grow big deer and you think that's a way to do it. But when you put it up, there's some things that can happen that you don't think about. You could, the water supply should dry up, and what are you going to do? You're going to lose them all. If they don't get proper food, what's going to happen? They're going to die. So they need to be regulated. There needs to be somebody that looks over them. And then when you go to a breeder pen, remember we ain't got it before. I was one of the first. Me and Bill Yates, a baseball player, I can't remember his name.
Osborne.
Osborne?
Roy Oswald.
And we were the first three, if I remember correctly. We did that with, in conjunction with the Wildlife Foundation, but really Mississippi State was the one that was really involved and helped us quite a bit. That's how I got started, a long time ago, 2008, if I remember right, 6 or 7. And it's taken me forever to be able to grow superior deer. I'm finally doing it now. And it's a big challenge, and what we want to be able to do is the private land association, is we want to be able to sell those deer and move them to another high fence area that's qualified. Like I said, out of 114 we got 4 people right now that got high fences. I mean, have got breeder fence that have got superior deer. I don't know if anybody else has got any. Maybe a few, but ain't many. One time we had 14 or 15 breeder pens, but they saw they couldn't make it, wasn't being successful, so they left. So anyway, back in, I think late November, I came and met with a couple of commissioners, and Dr. Polis and Doug, and we reviewed this, and I said, after looking at this law and looking at it and studying it and getting my lawyers involved, I believe that the commission's got the right to do anything they want to. If they decide it was right to sell these deer, they can do it. Because once you breed them, once we breed them, and you start giving them medication, and you do other things to them, not only you give them medication, but you get semen from outside, and then you put tags in their ears, they're no longer wild deer, not as wild. And that's the deer we're talking about. We're not talking about enclosing something and going out there and catching deer that are already in the enclosure and making them, trying to sell them. No, we're talking about breeding deer that's a superior genetic. I'm raising over this year I took semen out of 2 deer on my farm. One of them scored 282, and the other one scored 254. The 254 had an inside spread of 27, outside of 36. So that's what I've been able to accomplish after spending $2 or $3 million in about 12 years. I'm not telling you it's the best investment I ever made. It's just hard to give up. So I'm here to ask you guys today, I learned something else as I was digging. As commissioners, you can send in and ask for an attorney general's opinion. You can. I didn't know that. I know you all support this, or you did the last time we talked. I brought with you, I gave all of you what the lawyers have gave me, and I would ask you to look at it, review it, and try to get a decision. I'd like a week from now to have a decision that be sent in. If you're in agreement, I hope that Dr. Polis will be in agreement, and that Doug will be in agreement with that. But if they're not, let them send what they want to send in. If they don't think it's right. I think it is right. I think it's something that will check. What happened was, and we stated in there, that law was passed, and then in 13, Dr. Polis went up there and challenged, wanting to know if we had the right to sell deer. And they said no, and this was the reason why. And we bring all of that out in that letter. What we're doing is strategically trying to change why that's not correct, or wasn't a correct judgment at that time. Well, I would appreciate y'all doing this. I'd like to get it done quickly.
I make a motion that we send it, Billy.
I'll second.
The only thing I would state is that staff has not had a chance to look this over.
It don't matter. This is the commission, and we can make decisions based on our commission. There's a motion and a second.
Okay, a motion and a second.
We're asking the Attorney General just for an opinion.
Beg your pardon?
We're asking the Attorney General just for an opinion.
That's what this is about, an opinion from the Attorney General. I was hoping that it would be unanimous, that y'all would, all 5 commissioners say, I agree that this is something we think we ought to have a right to do. And I was hoping that the legal counsel here would agree with this letter, but he has not had a chance to look at it. I handed it to all of you when I got here. I didn't send it anything.
Well, before we can take official action, it'll be our next board meeting,
Okay.
which will be another one. So that's why I say.
That's why I want it done in a week, because before long, I'll be too late for me to hire a lobbyist to go fight that way.
Well, there's a motion and a second on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so further discussion, I would say that I think we all agreed to send something to Attorney General, and, you know, I haven't reviewed this either yet, Drew, but I think.
Your name's on it.
I haven't signed it yet.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Billy drafted it.
Oh,
I haven't signed it.
That's good.
And once I review it, I mean, again, if it's okay, I'll sign it. But I think to send it signed or unsigned is okay. And then I think for the staff, if they want to send something separately, that's okay too. So if that's what we're saying.
I don't think commission and staff ought to be separated.
I don't either.
I don't either. I think y'all ought to get behind us on it. But we're making the decision. There's a motion and a second on the floor for us to take a vote on it. And I think we need to take that vote.
Have you read it, Joanna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So everybody's had a chance to read it, then certainly you ought to take the opportunity to vote or not vote. It's up to you. We have been in conversation through lawyers with, Billy's lawyers.
Like I said, I don't know if we'll ever get there as long as they can charge me. I know how they operate.
But what I'm saying is that I haven't read that or haven't been involved in those negotiations. But the key is if the commission wants to send it this way, that's up to them.
Okay.
Okay? We hadn't had a chance to read it. If we have a chance to read it and we have a question about it, the lawyer will call your lawyer if we have a question. Is that fair enough?
Okay.
Sam, could you repeat that?
I said, if the commission wants to go ahead and vote now, and we read it today or tomorrow, whenever, and there's a question, clarity question, then our lawyers will call Mr. Domini's lawyer. And we will notify if it can be corrected, we will agree to correct it together. If there's no correction, it stays as it is.
That sounds fair to me. There we go.
Give me a second to read it, and
Okay.
we'll call a vote. Have you read it? Have you read it? Have you read it? Bill?
I have.
Okay.
Dr. Polis, I know Billy's in the process of reading. Go ahead, Billy.
Go ahead and talk while I'm reading it. I'm a fast reader.
I've got the utmost respect for you, always have. But we had a conversation just a minute ago about a park manager, basically a tail wagging the dog on an issue that we've got. And we are the commission. We're the commissioners, and we represent this commission. And therefore, just because a staff member doesn't agree with what this commission wants to do doesn't mean that we need to follow it. I think, I agreed with you the other day when I think the majority of the commission didn't.
No, I agree with that. I don't have a problem with that statement.
Okay.
We never had a problem with that statement.
I mean, I don't know that we're gonna get the right ruling when he goes up there.
Yeah.
We didn't the first time, but I think we got a better chance.
Okay.
So it's taken a lot of hard work on our part, truthfully, to think we come up with a possibility to make this successful.
Okay.
And my problem is time, because if that doesn't work, then I gotta go deal with the legislature.
I've read it. I'm okay with it because it's presenting the question. The Attorney General will rule, and if the staff has, clarifications or corrections, and there might be something that it looks good to me in my uneducated legal experience. So, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Judge.
Billy, I've got one question.
He wants one of the deer.
No, I do have one question. Our lawyers are gonna look at it and get with his lawyers. If anything's changed in the meantime, legally, Drew, can we send it in? Or does it have to come up at the next meeting and get approved?
Well, part of your motion and your order is that if there are any changes, I guess, and if his lawyer agrees to it, that y'all would agree to send it with the changes agreed upon.
All right, so we need to, how legally, do we need to take that motion back off the tape? How do we?
No, you
Well,
don't
no,
have to
you
do
just make that as a clarification of the motion.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make that a clarification of the motion, because I don't want it to get legally bogged down.
I don't wanna wait, like I said, I'd like it out of here in a week. I started in November dealing with this, so it's been
I knew it'd take a long time.
Well, I mean, it's no secret,
It's pretty simple what we're asking.
the mayor
We're
can
asking the
tell
Attorney General
you know,
if that can be changed and if y'all got the power. And it doesn't mean that you're gonna give it to us because you got it.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
does give you the right.
We're all we do is ask for an opinion. The Attorney General says the commission, whatever, has authority on this selling of.
There are 33 states
Enclosure deer,
that
then-
have high fences in the
Yeah.
United States.
Then at that
Every
point-
one of them allow the transportation of deer, except us. 33. So I'm telling you, a lot more business about this than I think we comprehend. I think, than I comprehended when I first got in.
all right, just to legally clarify, we put a clarification in the motion, so there's not gonna be any legal terms of, well, y'all need to hold up just a minute, and if we can send it, we can make changes to the actual document and send the same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Basically, what we're saying, we're gonna send it, period,
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Listen to that.
That's what I'm saying, this,
But if there's there's
But
minor
if-
clarification.
Minor clarification, if you decide it called Mark Brand and you both agree, then the changes will be made, but we still gonna send it.
you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be sent tomorrow.
We'll send it.
And
I agree, send it tomorrow.
Okay.
we're not gonna be looking at this as, trying to obstruct it, number one. Number two, if it needs a correction, they can talk to the Attorney General and bring Mr. Devaney's lawyers in on it before they respond. So it'll be over there tomorrow.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Any other business to come before the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a brief legislative update. And I'll be brief. But things got hopping 1st of January. We're watching about 100 bills so far. 27 of those are in the House and Senate committee, wildlife committees. We've got a couple of bills that we anticipated that are repeat from last year, almost verbatim, that didn't make it out of committee last year. There are a few bills that have been introduced that we anticipated seeing, and I'm sure y'all are aware of those, involving state parks, and of course, dedicated conservation funding on the House and the Senate side. Next deadline we're looking at is February 1st, where we start seeing these bills come out of committee. We'll have committee meetings coming up that staff will actively participate in. So we'll be monitoring those bills, and we'll be continuing to provide the commission with a report on the status of some of these bills. Upcoming events that Dr. Paulson and Mr. Posey asked me to share. We've got a meeting next week with both the House and Senate committees that we're going to meet and discuss some of this legislation and have some lunch. And then we've also got a meeting set up either the second or third week of February with the Legislative Black Caucus that we're looking forward to hosting them here there at our headquarters.
Larry, it'd probably be real wise if every week or two y'all might send out just a brief to us to give us an update on the top ones that we all have our eye on.
We started doing that the first, I looked actually, Commissioner Cooperwood, and we started doing that the 1st of February last year, putting you some bullets together of what's going on, what the bill means, and right now they could still, we haven't seen any lately, but these bills are still being assigned to committees. So you'll start getting those from me again.
What's the date of the legislative shoot at Turcotte?
The 27th, next Thursday. We're gonna have both committees out to Turcotte, feed them lunch, and then entertain them and let them shoot some at the shooting facility there at Turcotte.
What time is that?
Probably gonna start showing up about 11:30.
Okay.
We'll have our team there to provide some fish, and then I'll give them free run of the facility with us there.
Next Thursday?
Yes, sir.
And if some commissioners came, it'd be okay?
Sure. You should, we just finished the invitations,
Okay.
and we'll get those out to you, yes, sir.
Okay.
Questions for me on legislation? We'll make sure to start getting those updates out pretty soon. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks, Larry. The next commission meeting will be Monday, February 21st in Louisville, Mississippi, and then Turkey Summit will be February 24th. later meetings possibly at Mississippi State and Starkville, possibly on the coast, and a few other places. Matches maybe?
Mr. Chairman, how, I think there's gonna be some Mississippi recognition at the MWTF National Banquet.
Mhm.
How can we go? Can we go
We should,
as a
yes.
commission?
Yes, we should look at going,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's in February, it's
I know.
towards the end of February.
Yeah, that's right before this turkey summit, yeah. And then there's a Mr. Legislative update and Heritage 100 car tag auction on,
Foundation's doing it,
Foundation's doing it on, what's the date?
February the 10th.
February 10th.
We need to go, Cookwood.
Is there a need for executive session?
No, there's no need.
No need, okay. Well, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate it. Yeah, you be careful too. All right, we'll see you.